Welcome to our Immigration Briefing show. Today, we're diving into a high-stakes legal drama where a judge in Tennessee has ordered the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an El Salvador citizen accused of human smuggling, but ICE might have other plans to detain him again. This case has sparked heated debates about immigration enforcement and justice, especially amid ongoing political tensions. Stay tuned for more updates on this controversial story. Next, let's celebrate diversity. The DiverCity Festival in Charlottetown kicked off its summer series with vibrant performances from multicultural artists, many of whom are newcomers. This lively event showcased dance, music, and cultural expressions, encouraging community unity and understanding. If you missed the opening, don't worry, more fun and colorful festivals are on the way, each with new performers and vendors to explore. Finally, a heated debate is unfolding in Salem over the city's contract with Avalo Airlines. The controversy centers on the airline's involvement in ICE deportation flights, prompting protests and calls for a boycott. City officials are weighing legal and financial risks against moral concerns as they prepare to review the contract. Meanwhile, the community watches closely, hoping for a resolution that balances justice and city interests. Please continue to stay with us for more detailed insights. The Toronto Star reports on a compelling legal dilemma surrounding Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an El Salvadoran citizen mistakenly deported while living in Maryland. Despite a Tennessee judge's order to release him from jail while awaiting trial on human smuggling charges, federal authorities plan to re-detain him, highlighting the ongoing tension in U.S. immigration enforcement under President Trump's policies. Abrego Garcia's case underscores the complex interplay between judicial decisions and immigration agencies, with his defense arguing that the charges are an attempt to justify the deportation error, while the government seeks to appeal the judge's release order, illustrating the contentious nature of immigration law and justice. Meanwhile, CBC covers the vibrant DiverCity Festival in Charlottetown, where a mosaic of cultures comes alive through performances and shared traditions. The event features diverse acts, from a Chinese dragon dance performed by 17-year-old Lotte Zhang to musical performances by Tropicala, showcasing the rich tapestry of newcomers and longtime residents alike. Organizers emphasize the festival's role in fostering cross-cultural understanding, with the event serving as a lively platform for individuals to express their heritage and celebrate diversity. As the festival continues with upcoming events in Alberton, it exemplifies the community's commitment to multicultural inclusion, turning the waterfront into a lively stage for cultural exchange and unity. The Yahoo US article details Salem's heated debate over its contract with Avalo Airlines amid controversy over the airline's involvement in deportation flights for ICE. After protests and petitions, the City Council plans to review the agreement, which includes federal grants and a long-term operating contract. Critics argue that Avalo's participation in ICE deportations, operating flights out of Arizona, clashes with local values and human rights concerns, prompting calls for a boycott. City officials face the dilemma of potential legal and financial repercussions if they terminate the agreement, including losing federal funding and risking lawsuits, yet residents and activists urge them to stand against corporate greed and uphold moral integrity by severing ties with the airline involved in controversial deportation operations. The Independent reports on the heartfelt plea of David Todd, a 33-year-old British father-to-be, who passionately advocates for reforming the UK's family visa rules. Todd, who currently resides in Germany with his American wife, Claire, and is expecting their first child, describes the existing policies as making him feel like a second-class citizen. The minimum income requirement, MIR, which demands British citizens demonstrate a substantial income or savings, more than £88,500, before bringing their non-UK partners home, has become a significant barrier. Charities like Reunite Families UK and Quorum highlight the emotional toll, emphasizing the long-term family separations and psychological harm inflicted by these policies. Todd's story underscores the frustration and helplessness felt by many couples, especially as the government reviews these rules, with calls to simplify income-proof processes and consider spouses' earnings, to prevent families from being torn apart by bureaucratic hurdles. Yahoo US covers the powerful protests in Lawrenceville, Georgia, where hundreds rallied against U.S. immigration policies following the detention of journalist Mario Guevara. Guevara, a Salvadoran journalist known for reporting on immigration issues, was arrested during a protest in DeKalb County, accused of obstructing police and unlawfully assembling, despite asserting his role as media. The demonstration, echoing broader frustrations, condemned the aggressive immigration enforcement tactics and demanded Guevara's immediate release. The crowd's chants and drums filled Bicentennial Plaza as community members expressed outrage over the perceived suppression of free speech and immigrant rights. The incident, captured on police body cameras, has sparked ongoing debates about police conduct and the treatment of journalists and immigrants, with activists warning of the chilling effect such arrests have on activism and civil liberties. The Independent also reports on the Los Angeles Dodgers' response to the Trump administration's aggressive ICE raids, which have caused widespread fear among immigrant communities. The Dodgers donated $1 million to support families affected by these deportations, standing in stark contrast to the federal agents' brief staging outside Dodger Stadium, which was quickly blocked by stadium officials after local officials raised concerns. The team's leadership expressed solidarity with immigrant families, emphasizing the importance of community and diversity. Players like Kike Hernandez voiced their outrage at the raids, condemning the separation of families and the violation of human rights. Meanwhile, other local sports teams, including Angel City FC and LAFC, issued statements supporting immigrant communities and condemning the harsh enforcement tactics. The controversy also extended to cultural expressions, with singer Netza singing in Spanish at a Dodgers game as a form of protest, further highlighting the tensions between national immigration policies and community solidarity. The Independent reports on a compelling story of Job Garcia, a U.S. citizen who was violently detained during an ICE raid in California. Despite being a citizen, Garcia was subjected to aggressive tactics, including a knee pressed on his back and a hand on his neck, as agents forcibly took him into custody. His footage of the arrest went viral, revealing the brutality of the operation, which targeted a man in a truck and involved about 30 people. Garcia expressed a paradoxical sentiment. He believed his 24-hour detention was worth it if it helped undocumented individuals escape and reunite with their families. Overhearing ICE agents discussing their daily tally of arrests, Garcia saw the raid as a disturbing but potentially beneficial act, highlighting the ongoing controversy over ICE's expanding reach and the rising number of non-criminal detainees, which has surged by 800% since January, with over 50,000 held in detention centers. The data underscores a shift in enforcement priorities, with many arrests now involving individuals without criminal records, raising questions about civil rights and the true focus of immigration policies. The Sydney Morning Herald discusses the decline of motorcycle sales in Australia following the pandemic boom, illustrating how economic factors and changing consumer preferences have cooled the market. During COVID-19, Australians bought more bikes, up to 122,000 units, driven by border closures and a desire for adventure amidst long waits for cars. However, recent figures show a 15.7% decline from pandemic peaks, with only about 80,196 bikes sold last year and a further 3.5% drop in the first quarter of this year. The industry faces challenges like high interest rates, inflation, and the rise of electric bikes and e-scooters, which are seen as more economical for urban commuting and delivery services. Despite these hurdles, industry leaders remain optimistic, citing demographic growth and increased interest from younger riders and immigrants. Personal stories, like that of Alex Liddington Cox, who bought a bike for just $2,000, reflect the ongoing appeal of motorbiking, even as safety concerns, given that motorcyclists account for 21% of road fatalities, remain a significant consideration. The Independent also reports on the dramatic increase in non-criminal arrests by ICE under the Trump administration, revealing a stark shift from previous enforcement patterns. Since Trump took office, arrests of individuals without criminal records have skyrocketed by over 800%, with more than 7,700 such detainees since January. This surge has contributed to over 50,000 people being held in detention centers for the first time, with only 30% of detainees being convicted criminals. The majority of detainees are held for minor immigration violations like overstaying visas or illegal entry, rather than serious crimes such as murder or assault. Internal ICE documents indicate that serious criminal cases constitute only about 10% of detainees, emphasizing a focus on broad enforcement rather than targeting violent criminals. Critics warn that this approach risks civil rights violations and questions the true intent behind the enforcement drive, as officials push for higher arrest and deportation numbers regardless of the severity of crimes involved. CNN reports that the Mexican national soccer team's supporters in the United States are experiencing a wave of fear and disillusionment due to recent immigration enforcement actions. The once lively and vibrant gatherings at matches in Los Angeles, where thousands of fans would come together to celebrate their shared Mexican identity, have significantly diminished. The protests and police presence, along with the potential threat of ICE agents at matches, have led many fans, including groups like Cielito Lindo, to abstain from attending games in solidarity with those affected by immigration sweeps. These supporters groups have even cancelled traditional pre-match festivities, which are crucial moments for community bonding and cultural expression, out of concern for their safety and the well-being of their community members. The situation has deeply affected the morale of fans and the team, with some players and managers expressing disappointment and feeling unsupported, further casting a shadow over Mexico's upcoming matches and the broader implications for the 2026 World Cup hosted on American soil. Deutsche Welle highlights a remarkable surge in Turkish migration to Germany, where the number of Turkish citizens acquiring German passports doubled in 2024, reflecting a 110% increase over the previous year. Many Turks, such as Alaz Sumer and Barak Keseli, see German citizenship as a pragmatic and strategic move, facilitating easier travel, political participation, and career advancement, especially after recent reforms that now allow dual citizenship and reduce residency requirements. Despite their integration into German society and fluency in the language, many Turkish immigrants still feel a profound connection to Turkey, describing it as their true home. They often face a complex identity struggle, feeling neither fully accepted as Germans nor entirely at home in Turkey, with some recounting experiences of discrimination and social exclusion. These dual identities reveal the nuanced realities of migration, where legal status and cultural ties intertwine, shaping the ongoing debate about what it means to belong in a new country and how immigration policies influence personal and collective identities. The Toronto Star discusses how the political climate in the United States under Trump's administration has cast a shadow over the country's sports landscape, especially with recent aggressive immigration raids and heightened racial tensions. The incident at Dodger Stadium, where federal agents purportedly linked to ICE arrived during a game, exemplifies the increasingly hostile environment, with law enforcement actions perceived as intimidation tactics targeting immigrant communities and even U.S. citizens. These events have sparked outrage among sports teams, players, and fans who see them as threats to the inclusive spirit of sports and a dangerous shift toward authoritarianism. The situation is further complicated by the broader context of international sports, with FIFA and other organizations facing pressure and controversy surrounding politics, racism, and human rights issues. As the 2026 World Cup approaches, concerns grow that political interference and state-sponsored repression could tarnish what should be a celebration of global unity through sport, highlighting the urgent need for athletes, teams, and fans to take a stand against injustice and defend the integrity of sports as a force for good. The Detroit Free Press vividly captures the tragic story of Michael Bagoy Duarte, an 18-year-old student whose hopes for completing high school in Detroit were shattered by immigration enforcement. Despite a community outcry and petitions urging leniency, ICE deported Michael to Colombia, where he is now with his grandmother, leaving behind a future that was once bright with promise. His detention, which was marked by emotional stories from teachers and classmates, exemplifies the harsh realities faced by young immigrants caught in the crossfire of immigration policies, highlighting the human toll of a system that often prioritizes enforcement over compassion. Meanwhile, Yahoo US reports on a high-profile political controversy involving Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University student and Palestinian activist, whose detention and subsequent release have become a rallying point for advocates like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Khalil's arrest, based on allegations of anti-Semitic activities and political speech, was widely condemned as an illegal and politically motivated persecution. His story underscores the ongoing struggle over free speech and political activism in the United States, especially when it involves sensitive issues like Palestine. Khalil's case, with its legal battles and public protests, exemplifies the contentious intersection of immigration enforcement and political expression, raising questions about rights, justice, and the limits of activism under government scrutiny. Finally, The Independent offers a compelling narrative about the broader implications of these incidents, emphasizing how the Trump administration's aggressive immigration policies have led to high-profile legal setbacks and accusations of politicized persecution. The article highlights Khalil's powerful stance on Palestinian rights, his refusal to be silenced, and the administration's efforts to suppress dissent through legal means. These stories collectively paint a vivid picture of a nation grappling with complex issues of immigration, free speech, and human rights, where individual lives are profoundly affected by policies that often seem to prioritize control over compassion. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6 Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6 team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6 Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6 Brief via email.